The reason that we're both up here tonight is we thought that we would do sort of a Larry King interview, which we've done before. Sometimes it's interesting, it turns into a Lucy and Desi kind of interview too. So we try to have some fun and also pass along some good information to you. Tonight we're going to empower you through Patricia's teachings to learn how to capture your dreams, what dream symbols mean, and how to use our dreams to help us in whatever daily dilemmas we have or something in the past that hasn't been cleared up yet. So we're going to have a wide range, and anybody who's interested or willing or brave enough, Patricia will take a dream from you tonight, and you'll see how all of the theory that we'll talk about actually works. All right. So I want to start with a short quote. Perhaps you've heard, of course, of Dr. Sigmund Freud and Dr. Carl Jung. These were the early pioneers of psychology, of modern psychology. We all are concerned about what's happening in Europe and Ukraine with Russia, etc. So this quote comes to mind, and I want to then relate it to our subject tonight of dreams. So Carl Jung said, "Much of the evil in this world is due generally to the fact that men are unconscious. Much of the evil in this world is due generally to the fact that men are unconscious." He only said men, by the way. You noticed?
Man. I think you should say man.
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 No, he said it once. I said it twice. So let's jump into it. What do we mean when we say the unconscious?
Okay, here we go. Let's talk about the unconscious. Well, let's look at it this way. Let's see an iceberg. The tip of the iceberg is what we see. That is our conscious mind. So we're talking about the whole consciousness is the unconscious. This is the conscious. Then just below the surface is the subconscious. But below that is the much wider, vaster, huger unconscious. And that includes our own unconscious and the universal unconscious.
So when Jung is talking about this unconscious, that men are generally in the unconscious, they're not what we consider conscious, meaning awake or holistic in some way. What is that comprised of, that unconscious and then the subconscious?
Well,
what is it comprised of?
It's comprised of what we just said, the consciousness, the conscious, the subconscious, and the unconscious. So that's comprised of, well, we call that the self. That's the inner self,
And the
capital S.
And the unconscious, as you've explained in the book, is where the shadow world is, the underworld is, and where dreams come from. Can you talk about that?
Well, not just the shadow. Everything comes from our unconscious, our self. So all the unsaid mysteries of our lives and everything that we've gathered, all the data we've gathered throughout the day, throughout our lives, every second of every hour we're gathering data through our senses, through our touch, taste, eyes, hearing. It's gathered in our subconscious, goes down, gets filtered out, and some of it is discarded, trash, and then some of it is stored, and the data is always there. So, that being said, we have this file, we have many files of data that we have collected in our waking lives.
You speak about, in your book, about repression, suppression, script. Can you go into some of those definitions and how they play out in the dreams?
Okay, well, let's talk about script first. The script, when we're scripted, I'm leading up to things, so I'm just laying out some theory first. So when we're scripted, that is our early training, whether it be from our parents, our schools, our churches, temples, the early training in life, our nannies, all the early things that have scripted us. Now, as we go through life, those things are imprinted like tapes. You've heard many people talk about the tapes. We have imprinted tapes. Well, we call it script. Well, then we have to go through life with these scripted messages, and we can decide later which of those messages work for us and which don't work for us.
And some of that script, you
And
say,
some of that
comes out in dreams.
That can all come in dreams, because what happens is all this data that's collected, we use it for our messages as we're creating these plays. I talk about dreams being the back door entrance to this subconscious that I was talking about, the unconscious. So this is the back door entrance, these dreams, to the unconscious mind, and gathering up stuff so that it can filter back, bubble back through to our conscious mind and bring us messages to help us function in our daily lives, to help us make decisions, to help us be proactive rather than reactive, and not act from our monkey minds or our lizard brains. So when we understand our unconscious and our subconscious, we become conscious and make rational choices in life.
And then how does the fact of repression or suppression then manifest itself in dreams?
Okay, when you are young and we don't have words and things impact us when we're little children, it can be repressed. It's unconscious. You aren't consciously aware that something has been squashed down and pushed back to the unconscious. So, but suppression is when you've been scripted and had some, let's say, negative or don't do this, don't do that. So then you are purposefully suppressing yourself. And you've then, as we get old, children are very free. We talk about in psychology, the fun-free child doesn't know what restrictions are, and they laugh at everything, and then they start getting all these messages, and they start suppressing their feelings and their thoughts, and so this is what happens.
So using that theme of repression, suppression, let's go into your early experience, which you talk about in the book, and if you could take that and show how that led you to your interest in dreams, too.
Okay, well, we get right into it. My story, which I talk about in my introduction in the book, is when I was 5, I was kidnapped and molested, and that became a repressed memory. And so I went through life with nightmares, we used to call them, and now I refer to them as scary images because they have since been dealt with. But those nightmares that followed from my trauma, and I deal with trauma, by the way, a lot of people come to me who've had traumatic experiences and trauma in life, and help them work through this because that's how I was taught. And so this has worked out through the dream work because the images came up in terms of symbols. I didn't know that the witch on the big broom was chasing me and I was flying away. Well, that was a phallic symbol. We talk about symbols. So here's this big broom, and so here's this broom chasing me with the scary witch, and that haunted me for years until I learned this work and that this was not a nightmare, but a scary image bringing me to consciousness, because that message, when understood, was what saved me.
If we can, let's use that dream, and more specifically, you talk about why there's a witch. If there's a phallic symbol, shouldn't it be a man that's chasing you? So why is there a witch? And then you also talk about that dream as that you are trying to fly up or you're trying to go up. Can you relate those two?
Right.
Symbols?
Okay, so here's another important thing in this dream work, starting from Carl Jungian dream work. We talk about the man. A man in a dream represents your feelings. There's a paradox. So if there's a man in a dream, it's talking about your feelings. If there's a woman in your dreams, we're talking about your thinking, your ideas, your productivity, the masculine side of life. So it's reversed. Now, so the witch was an old witch, so then it was an old idea, old scary thoughts. So it's a masculine image because it's a female scary figure. Okay.
But it has the going
The phallic
up, which,
symbol chasing, yes.
and going up.
And
represent-
going up, when I'm swimming going up, I'm going up into my head to escape my feelings. That's the other component, is when you go up, you're in your head, the masculine. And when you're going down, if anywhere is going down, you're in your feeling-centeredness, the feminine. So those, I'm just trying to give you some basic components before we can go wild.
That's pretty well so far.
It's kind of...
Let's show them the taijutsu symbol, the yin yang, which explains what is called this Jungian paradox of the male inside the female inside the male.
Now, this image you may recognize, this yin-yang symbol. What it is, the dark swirl is the feminine energy. The feminine with the white dot inside. Well, so that's the masculine inside. The white swirl is the masculine. So this is matter, that's feminine. This is energy, masculine, with the black dot inside. So the opposite energies are contained in each one. So in every man, there's a feminine soul. In every woman, there's a masculine soul. This just goes back to basic Jungian stuff. But then we take it further. My mentor and I, Pat Allen, who's now 87 years old, and I promised I would carry this work on. And that's why I did the book, was because I promised her I would do this book before she decided to leave the planet, and she's still with us today. So anyway, this is the basics of our dream life. Our dreams come to us in terms of our masculine and feminine energies. Now, we all have both. Everybody has masculine and feminine energies. But there's never going to be a man as strong as a woman is inside, and there's never going to be a woman as sensitive as a man is inside. So those are the complementary forces of the universe, and it's nothing new. This goes back to ancient times, but it is modern times too, because this is what the whole computer world is based off of, the binary system. It's just energy. This is universal from the beginning of time, of positive and negative energy, and it needs both to run the planet. So, that being said.
Well, and you mentioned that is the pathway to balance, or as you call it, androgyny. So can you talk about androgyny a little bit?
Yeah, we're not talking about being unisex, no, but I'm talking about balance of energies. We all want, hopefully we want to strive to have a balance in our life of our energies, balance our masculine with our feminine. So when we're working hard, when we're playing hard, we're playing hard. But we want to balance our energies, and that's how we can live optimally, is when our energies are balanced.
So talking about this binary system of the universe, let's get into more specific archetypes and also specific male-female symbols, images that come up in the dreams. Can you explain what is an archetype?
Okay, well, archetypes are generally, basically, a universally accepted idea of a particular symbol. A mother, people have a general idea what a mother is. We have a general idea, we all have a feeling about what a snake is. Those are archetypes. General, they're in folklore, so it's an accepted universal depiction of any particular symbol.
So if we get into something like, let's say, a dog, how do we utilize this system of male-female. I dream I'm being chased by a Doberman Pinscher, right?
Okay.
So is that male? Is that female? What does it mean?
Okay, well, generally speaking, again, and I want to back up for 1 second because this is why the typical dream dictionaries don't really work, because it's different for every individual. Dreams are very personal. So if we're talking about a dog, generally speaking, it's a masculine. We put a masculine label on it. We put a feminine label on a cat, generally speaking. So those are archetypal generalizations. But if you're saying there's a Doberman Pinscher chasing you, well, that has a connotation of being an aggressive dog. So we're talking about an idea that masculine ideas, productivity, thinking, the masculine side of life. So
you're saying that my productivity, or there's some thoughts, some chasing me?
you might say so, if that's what your dream is, something in your work life is coming to bite you in the ass in your workplace. So you might say that. But if it's a little poopsie pie fluffy little dog in your dream, then it's going to be something, a different connotation altogether.
Or if I love Doberman
Or
Pinschers
if you,
and I'm not.
this is the other why it's personal, if some people are afraid of dogs. So a dog is always going to be a scary image to them in their dream. They're afraid of dogs. People love dogs, so it's going to be personal to the individual.
But you said that, for instance, a cat would be a feminine symbol, but isn't a lion or a tiger part of the cat family?
Well, let's see. There are anomalies. So here are the exceptions. It's not exactly an exception. Yes, it is a feminine creature, but a lion is a cat, yes, feminine, but it's also a predatory animal. Lions and tigers are predatory. So they're sort of androgynous. They have a strong masculine and feminine characteristics. So everything is very detailed in our dream life.
So you'll get more of a feeling. This is the theoretical part, but we're going to open up, not right now yet, to your dreams, if anyone wants to relate a dream, and then you'll see how this masculine feminine really explains itself.
But I want to bring up too, when you talked about the lion and say, in dreams, size matters. So let me just tell you something. If something is large in a dream, it means this is a pressing issue, this is important. If there's an elephant, when something is large in a dream, it's something that needs to be dealt with. It's a big issue for you.
Okay, size matters. I think I heard that somewhere. Okay. Let's segue to something that I know you hear a lot, and when people say, you tell them you're a dream analyst, they say, well, I don't dream, I don't remember my dreams. What is that when people say that? What is the reality behind that?
Poppycock.
We have some British...
Yes, we have our British friends back there. Well, let's put it this way. We all dream. Even our animals dream. So I know that we've all seen our animals twitching and doing their little dream life, right, Donna? So our animals dream. All creatures dream. And this is more theory, but I'm sorry. This is part of the natural physiological process, the biological system that's happening called the glymphatic system. Not the lymphatic system, but there's something about the brainwashing called the glymphatic system when we're sleeping. Now, during quality sleep, not false drug-induced sleep, by the way. And we're wondering why we have more and more Alzheimer's disease these days. I hate to bring this up, but when you're deprived of real sleep, not hypnotically induced, which is the sleep meds don't allow you to have real sleep, it's actually a hypnotic state. The brain can't go through this cleansing detoxification process, and it's necessary every single day. So, that being said, everything dreams. Oh, you said, why do people say I don't dream? Well, my friend.
Oh yeah, you have that great story about
I
your
have
friend.
a story about my friend in Aspen I never dream. I don't dream. But I want to support you. I'll get your book. So she gets my book. And typically, she would have several drinky winkies in the afternoon through the evening.
Yeah, like she would put away a half a bottle of vodka before, just several, nothing major, on a daily basis, but nothing major.
I'm just saying, but just as a head on. But so she put the book by the bedside. She didn't look at it yet. She didn't even read the introduction, the foreword. No, she just saw the cover and said she wanted to support me and said she didn't dream. I said, I bet you do, and you just call me when you do. The next morning, she called me and said, I had a dream. It was so weird. I go, well, did you read the first chapter or something? No, I was just, and here's why I want to introduce this. The intent is so important when you want to start a dream practice. The intent that you want to remember your dreams is everything.
Well, let me cut you off because this is a very important part, and I want to get into this section, really, so let's say you're not drinking and you're not taking meds, okay? So you want to then capture your dreams. Please explain your method on doing that.
This is like anything else. I know we've got some golfers in here, right? Okay, whatever you do that you have to learn something and be good at it, you have to practice. So anyway, this is what you do. You keep a pad by the bed. You keep a pen. Some people keep a recording device. I still, old-fashioned, old school is best to me. Keep a pen and pad by the bed. Tell yourself before you go to sleep, this is the intent. I'm going to remember my dream. Start there. Upon waking, this is the trick. Upon waking, you keep your eyes closed for this 3 to 4 minute period called the Lyman state, but you don't need to remember that. My students do. The Lyman state. And if you keep your eyes closed during this 3 to 4 minute period, that's all it lasts, but you'll be out of it if you open your eyes. And that's when you can capture the images, at least. So you start, even if you can capture one image, one little piece, oh, there was a dog. Dog, just put dog. And don't open your eyes, scribble it on the page, who cares? Get a big pad. Dog. Next night, oh, there was train, river. And you start seeing it, a practice, and it comes alive. Your dream life actually comes alive. And there's more to it, but that's the start.
Okay. Well, we've covered a lot, obviously.
Oh, I'm sorry.
but in a sense, we've also just scratched the surface, okay? So what we'd like to do is...
I want to say one more thing. Okay. So when you want to share something with me, dreams are not judgmental. So anything goes in dreams, and there's no judgment in the dream life, because it's another state. And so when I want to talk about sex dream, because some people have sex dreams, but they're not really about sex. 9 times out of 10, they're not really, well, depends on who it is. But typically, they're not about sex. They're about you integrating aspects of yourself. But occasionally, you can have a wet dream. So.
Well, okay. Now you brought up a sensitive topic. What if I dream that I'm having sex with a male, and I'm a heterosexual? I have no interest in.
I can attest to that. Okay.
in physicality with men. Does that mean I'm homosexual?
Well, I would ask you the character type of that male. Okay. It doesn't mean you're having sex with that person. It means that you're wanting to integrate some feeling. It's a man. So some feeling, I would say, what was that character type that was in this dream? And you say, oh, that character type was, for instance, make up some character type of a person.
A friend who betrayed me.
Okay, so a feeling of betrayal, but you were integrating that feeling. So it's about integration when you're having dreams typically like this. Unless you're just like full on, woo! Okay, so that's another
homosexual.
Story.
Okay,
no, you're good.
Okay. So, as we said, if you have questions or if you have a dream that you want to share, I suggest you stand to ask your question.
Hey, Patricia, when I was young, I had a reoccurring dream. I'm a kid. I'm probably up until the time I was in the 20s or something, about running from somebody or something, and I was terrified. And I would get right to the edge of a cliff, and my heart would be pounding, and I would wake up. Always, I got nowhere to go. I'm right at the edge of the cliff, and I'm either going over, but I would wake up just before that, and I would be, and my brother and my father used to wake up and go fishing for copper. Well, they would fight, they would draw straws, and we would wake me up because I'd come up swinging. You know what I mean? I just would come up, and I mean it. Like you hear about the Japanese kids having that thing, I come up. But anyhow.
So this is why dreams are interactive, because I would say what was chasing you? First, we want to, since you said it was repetitive. I had those repetitive dreams. So repetitive dreams are really trying to get us to pay attention, to resolve an issue. Those are unresolved issues. So did you ever recall who that character was? Or what was chasing you? What, a person or a thing?
It was persons, but it wasn't a particular person.
I understand. You think they were male or female?
Male.
Okay, those are feelings. Those are scary feelings that you were dealing with at that time in your life. You said it was when you were a kid. So there was some scary stuff going on when you were a kid that had a lot of scary feelings. And when you come to the edge of it, and the next thing is a drop down, that's really going down into your feelings. You were terrified of going down into your feelings. Yeah. There was something going on at that time of your life that was terrifying to you. And
I had it for years.
But could you pinpoint what that was in daily life to connect the dots from your dream to your waking life? That's what we do. That's what we do. We correlate, and that's why I tell people, get to me soon, because you don't always remember years down the road to correlate what was going on, but oftentimes people do. They can correlate what was going on at that time of their life. So try to sometimes sleep on it and see if you remember what was going on in that time period that was scary for you, and you did not want to feel that.
Well, and having known Patricia's work, it takes more than one session of a dream interpretation, and Patricia being a transactional analyst as well, then you get into the, could we call it healing or revelatory solutions aspects of what those are.
To find out and do something about it, yeah.
Let's take another question, or even on the theory, or if you have a dream that you care to talk about. We're all friends here. It's a group therapy. We support each other. Marianne, yeah, you said you had a dream.
I'm kind of embarrassed now. You have all these very interesting dreams. My dreams are very mundane.
No, every symbol is brilliant.
I'm going to surprise you. The other day, I was dreaming that all the Publix in my neighborhood were closing. And I said, where am I?
That is a nightmare. That's a scary image.
I know, it is very scary. And I said, where will I go? And I went over all the shopping centers. I went through the shopping centers with Publix, and then they said, down in Lake Worth, there's this Publix where you can go.
Let me ask you something.
And I said, I'm not going down to Lake Worth. So I went in one of the Publix, and they had a big sign, 30% off because of closure, and I said, oh, 30% off, maybe I should buy it. I mean, that's my kind of dream. There is no stick, there is no wind.
That's very deep, I'll tell you why.
Deep?
It is. No, it's funny on one level, but I have a feeling that is an ancestral trauma dream of lack.
What? Say it again, please.
Her dream was that she thought that all the Publix markets were closed. and she couldn't get her needs met. This is a dream. Dreams come in terms of symbols. They don't mean that, they mean something else. So it was your feeling of lack, your feeling of that you would not have your needs met. So somewhere along the line, you have held in you, when we talked earlier, I mentioned script and things that happen to us when we're young and that are repressed, and we keep them inside of us. And so somehow, some way, something in our daily life, maybe the stuff that's on television now has triggered you to fear that there is some kind of lack of our needs being met coming ahead.
And when you say ancestral dreams, can you explain what that
This
means?
Generational trauma can come through the generations. It can be passed on, even if it isn't this generation's trauma, it can be passed on energetically. So I read this dream as your fear of a lack of having your needs met, feeling.
Like for example, my family living through World War I and then World War II.
I sensed it. I felt it right away. This is a generational trauma.
Well, we see this too with
So there are no
Holocaust
trite dreams.
No.
The simplest seeming symbols and dreams can be very, very meaningful for your personal growth.
Let's take one or two more questions. One more question. Our crew is going to pack up soon too. So, we got two. Okay, we'll take two. Dawn first, and then the person in the back.
Timing on your dreams. For me, when I have a dream, it could be in color, it could be in black and white, and it's all over the place. But it's always just before I wake up. It's not in the middle of the night. It seems like it's just when dusk comes. Is there a reason for when you have it?
Well, we have the longest period of dreaming in that REM state. We dream all night long, by the way, but most people remember the last stage, which is the REM stage, and it's the longer stage. But we are dreaming 23% of the time in our sleep.
Patricia, I hope this is not poppycock, but I have a dream, not frequently. I'm just standing by a pond, a beautiful pond with lilies and nice, and I'm looking at it. And I don't know whether I'm going in or not. And then the whole thing fades. And I have this infrequently, more than once.
This dream about the pond and you're standing next to it, contemplating of possibly going into it? You're thinking fear of going into the pond, but it's a bucolic setting? It's a bucolic or scary? It's not a scary black lagoon, okay? So this is a bucolic setting, but your fear of possibly going into it? Water elements in dreams represent our sensual, sexual relationship side of life. So I say to this dream, what is it you are afraid of getting immersed in this area of your life? Is there are you about to, when does this dream, is this current or past?
Past.
Were you afraid to get into a relationship at that time?
Well, I'd have to dig back quite far.
That's the whole point. That's the point why we get this, is it related to a time in your life when you had trepidation and it seemed like it would have been an okay relationship. Maybe you ended up going into it, but at that dream meant you were a little had a little trepidation of getting into it. But it wasn't a scary, you were afraid, but it itself, see, if you had known me at the time, I would have said, why not? It seems inviting.
Thank you.
Can I just ask you, Patricia, one thing, because you shared it on my podcast, and I think it's just so important for people to know about their dreams. A lot of people feel like their dreams can be very scary for them, but you shared something on the podcast that really sort of summed it up, and you said, all dreams actually wish us.
All dreams wish us well. And that is a fact. Even when they're scary images, they're trying to bring us, the dream is trying to bring us a message for our personal wellness, our personal growth, our personal transformation. So it might seem scary, but when we understand it, we understand that the dream wished us well.
Thank you, Monique. That's very
Thank
good.
you.
All right, guys. Thank you very, very much for coming. Appreciate your attention. Patricia will be signing books back there.